Are you actually aware of how you speak to yourself? On this episode, we're going to talk about how you speak to yourself on a daily basis and how it affects you every single day. This is the Kristin Show, New York licensed social worker and board certified life coach. I just want to help you explore different ways to think. Thanks so much for tuning in. I feel like I've always been very aware of how I spoke to myself. I think I'm more aware now of how the way that I've spoken to myself really does affect my whole life, everything. Any relationship that I've had, anything that I do for myself has been one of the major bases is how you talk to yourself. Now you might be thinking to yourself, "Well, I speak to myself really well." Well, that's amazing. And you might be listening to this saying to yourself, "I talk to myself really, really bad." And I'm speaking to both people. I'm speaking to the people that speak really bad about themselves, and I'm speaking to the people that speak really good about themselves. So if you're speaking really good about yourself, then keep on doing it because it's probably making you a lot better at who you are and what you do in your life and how you feel about yourself. I've always told myself I was never a runner. I was never a a morning person. But the thing was I wanted to be those things. I wanted to be a morning person. I wanted to be a person that ran or a runner. And I found myself repeating those thoughts and talking to myself about it over and over again, saying that, well, you're not a morning person. That's why you're not waking up so early. You're not a runner. That's why you're not running. And then I started to really become more aware and I started to really change it. So I would say to myself, okay, you're not a runner, but we're going to run. You're not a morning person, but you're going to wake up early. So however you see yourself and what you're doing and how you're talking to yourself really affects you. And it takes a lot of work. I am 33 years old right now at this taping in 2022. And I'm having to relearn how to speak to myself all over again. I feel like you're learning how to speak, you're learning how to breathe again because it's a whole different type of language. Instead of, telling myself or maybe yourself, you're a piece of shit, you can't do this. Your father doesn't love you, so you can't do that. You always had so much trouble with school, so everything that you do is always going to be just so hard for you. And once you start to challenge those thoughts, is where the magic starts to really happen for you. So for me, when I started to challenge those thoughts, oh, am I really a piece of shit? Or am I just thinking that I am because it's a little bit harder for me to do X, Y, and Z? And again, once you start to challenge yourself and say, well, is this really true? Am I not a morning person and am I not a runner? Try to get up a little bit earlier than normal if you want to. If you want to be a morning person, first of all, you need to figure out number one, the first step is to figure out how you're speaking to yourself. And then number two is, well, what type of person do I want to be? Who do I want to be? And how do I get there? The first thing that you need to do is become aware of how you're speaking to yourself and really reframing how you're speaking to yourself. And the way that you can catch it is when that negative thought pops into your head and be like, oh, and catching it immediately. Don't let it slide. Don't let it slip. Because once you do that, you're going to get into the habit of just letting it slide instead of just challenging it. And we have so many thoughts on a day-to-day basis that it's going to be very challenging. And it's still very, very much so challenging for me to get a thought and always negotiate with it and try to challenge it. It's a lot of work. And that's why I feel like a lot of people may not do it because it's a lot of internal work. But I do promise you that if you start to work on this and challenge that inner talk that you're doing, your life is going to be so much better. So I want you to start to really pay attention to how you're speaking to yourself. When you go to work out, or if you go to work, or if you're in a relationship, or if you go on a date, what are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that this date is not going to work out because you're not pretty enough, you're not good enough, you don't have a good career? What are you saying to yourself? Or are you saying, I'm a fucking rock star. I'm going on a date. I'm meeting new people. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's okay. How are you speaking to yourself? This part of life, like a lot of things are important in life, right? Everything. But one of the most important things is really how you speak to yourself. What are those conversations like on a day-to-day basis as soon as you open your eyes to when you go to sleep? Are they mostly negative, or are they like pushing you to do better? So now just imagine you're going throughout your day and you get an assignment from work and you're like, I can't fucking do this. This is like not in like the realm of like what I feel like I know I can do. I don't have knowledge about this. And you keep on doubting yourself. Now imagine you keep on doing that on a day-to-day basis at work, let's just say. I'm going to assume that you're not going to feel really good, or you're not going to feel really motivated to really want to go to work. Now, let's flip it. Let's say that you go to work and you get this assignment and you're like, all right, I may not know what I'm doing, but I'm going to either ask for help, research it, or try my best, because this is something that I may not have never done before, but I'm going to do my best and I'm going to ask for help if I need to. So these are very two different conversations that are going on in your head on your own. And it's so easy just to let the negative slide because you're saying to yourself, well, I'm the only one hearing it, so who cares? Like, I'm not saying this to my friend, but it's so important because what you tell yourself on a daily basis is either going to make you a better person or make you feel so terrible. And I've done both. I've done, Kristin, you're not a morning person. Your father doesn't love you, so like, who else will love you? School was really hard for me, so work in itself is just, I'm just gonna always struggle. I've had those thoughts, and I'm telling you, when I flipped it and I reframed those thoughts, I started to live a much, much better life. I want you guys to become more aware of how you're speaking to yourself. And here's the thing. I want you not to let yourself down. Because those internal conversations are easy just to pass by, right? And pass along and pass off, because you're not saying that horrible things to a friend or family member or your husband, your wife, your partner. You're not saying it. So you're like, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not hurting anybody. You actually are. You are internally hurting yourself. And that's the person that you should not be hurting, is yourself. So now what if you actually started today with changing up these conversations with yourself? What if you started to say, all right, I hate getting up right now, but I'm going to get up. I'm actually giving you my internal process of how I actually get up in the morning. Okay. Don't want to get up. It's 6:15. Let me just push my alarm out to a couple of more minutes. I hate getting up. I feel like I'm dying because I'm just so tired. This is my internal monologue, and I hope you're enjoying it. And then I tell myself, you're not going to die. Stop being so dramatic. If you're a little tired because you got up a little bit earlier, that's okay. But I know you're going to be proud when you either take that walk or if you go and work out for that 30 or 20 minutes. I know you're going to be so proud of yourself if you do that. So what I do, then I do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I get up and do whatever I need to do. And I'm not going to take credit for the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method because that's from Mel Robbins. I think that's her. If not, I apologize. But it's not from me. I actually got that method from her, and it works wonders because it gives you like a little time frame of like, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am going to get up and I'm going to do what I know that I want to do, and I know it's going to make me feel better. So I want you to start to reframe your self-talk, because the way that you talk to yourself is the most conversation that you will ever have, ever in your life. Not with your partner, not with your sister, not with your brother, not with your siblings, with yourself. I really want you guys to try this out for yourself and become more aware of how you talk to yourself, and then really reframing in that moment of how you speak to yourself. So if you need some help with this, just DM me on Instagram. _Kristin_Ann88. If you really need help with this, or if you just need some guidance with it, just DM me. I would love to help you. Thank you so much, guys, of tuning in on this episode of Are You Aware of How You Actually Speak to Yourself? Bye, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, please like, share, follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Also, come follow me on Instagram, _Kristin_Ann88. And if you're ready to take the next step because you fucking deserve it, come take a look at my website on Instagram,